Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, the three modes of material nature, text number 26 onwards. So in the previous three verses, 3 or 4 verses, 22 through 25, Krishna talks about different qualities. He said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate elimination, attachment and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who's unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal towards the desirable and undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the three modes of material nature. Wow, it's not easy. So these are practically the same qualities Krishna had explained to Arjuna when Arjuna had asked questions about Sthit Pragya, Muni, in second chapter. And Krishna pretty much covered these qualities. So Sthit Pragya, or one who has transcended the three modes, these are the qualities. And there are more qualities mentioned in 13th chapter, towards the end of 12th chapter. So I think these qualities we should take a print and hang it on our walls and see how far we have gone and how further we have to go. We take so much of pride in ourselves calling we are devotees, and so much of fun it is when somebody calls me, oh, he's a pure devotee. What pure devotee? These are the qualities. Few qualities of a pure devotee. These are the qualities of a person who had transcended the three modes, which Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, Hatha Yogi, they all can do. Bhakti Yogi even goes further. He has full love for Krishna. Service attitude is there. That's not even, Krishna is not even discussing that right now. And we become so proud of, oh, I have put on this Kanthi Mala and nice tilak and I'm chanting, I put on dhoti kurta, very nice matka silk dhoti kurta and this or that. Where are the qualities? A devotee, a Vaishnava is known by his qualities, not by what kind of dhoti kurta he is wearing and what kind of tilak, how good his tilak is. Of course, I'm not saying one who has good tilak is not a devotee, but the point is, these qualities have to come. We have to develop. Basically, basic quality. No, not worried about honor or dishonor. Situated equally in praise and blame. That can only happen when we get beyond this bodily concept of life. Who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye. We don't have that kind of vision. And see, also Krishna gets accused of inciting war. He gets accused of playing politics. That Arjun didn't want to fight. Krishna was the one who made him fight. Krishna is the one who made him wage that war against Kauravas, and so many people got killed. So Krishna basically he doesn't like peace. But look at the kind of qualities Krishna is talking about before the war and at the battlefield to Arjuna. Basically, he wants him to develop these qualities. Or maybe Arjuna has those qualities. Krishna is just talking about these qualities for the people who are self-realized. So this doesn't look like a talk in the battlefield. If he had just told Arjun, you just fight, kill them all, forget about these qualities. I mean, if he hadn't just even mentioned about these qualities, or his devotion service, or other things, then we could have said, yeah, he was inciting. But here, look at the quality, look at the beautiful philosophy he is discussing with Arjun. If we really want to talk about somebody who incite people about waging war, the leaders, look at one of the speeches of Hitler or George Washington in America, or when they threw out British after the Boston Tea Party. That is a speech to make people go for war. He didn't discuss philosophy. He's basically talk about go for war, kill them. We need our motherland. It's a wonderful speech, no doubt about it, but nothing about any philosophy of body and soul and developing these qualities. Because they knew if soldiers are going to develop these qualities, oh, you be equal in honor and dishonor, praise and blame. Why would the soldiers fight? Have develop equal vision, and they would say, okay, the soldiers on my side and soldiers on the other side, they're all equal. Why should I fight? Why should I kill them? But here, Krishna is speaking the topmost philosophy to Arjuna and still wants him to do his duty as a Kshatriya. And Arjuna did the duty after understanding whole Bhagavad Gita. So it was about duty, it wasn't about war. It happened to be Arjuna's duty to fight as a Kshatriya. But understanding that you're not this body, even when you're fighting, because that could be the most difficult place to follow this rule. And only his devotees can do that. That's why he chose Arjuna. And for that purpose, for the philosophy and for the war. So we have to understand Krishna's heart, inner meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Text 26. Again, wonderful text. Mam cha yo vabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samthityetan brahmbhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So how to attain those qualities, how to get beyond the modes of material nature, is only by devotion service. Full devotion service, unfailing in all circumstances. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What's the meaning of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of material nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Ram and Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. So one who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Narayan, Gaurnitai, Nrsimhadev, any of the Vishnu Tattvas, is considered to be transcendently situated. But then again, we have to understand, if we are transcendently situated, means those qualities should be there. So if we haven't developed those qualities, and the service of Krishna is not just physical service, chanting is also service of Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, or any other devotional services that Prabhupada has very wonderfully explained and engaged his disciples in. So they're all devotional service. Means that if we are doing those devotional service properly, means those qualities, what Krishna is mentioning, should have developed in us. So if we don't have those qualities, or if we have very few percentage develop those qualities on very few percentage, or very slightly we have developed, means we have long way to go. Means we are not doing the services properly. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendent, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. So these modes, sagunan santityatam brahmbhuyaya kalpata. So that's a way to transcend these modes. In fact, in 7th chapter also Krishna says, Devi hi esha gunamahimam maya durakteya mame vye prapadyante maya metam. One who surrenders unto me, he transcends these forces of material nature, which is the material modes. This is what Prabhupada is also saying. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. So we have looked at the characteristics and the results of a person in the modes, in three modes of nature, any of the three or combination of three. So if we are, again, it comes to our progress. If we are still in the modes of nature, and we have to be honest with ourselves, means we are not performing bhakti properly. Because this is what Krishna says. If you surrender, you cross over three modes. If we haven't crossed over, means we haven't surrendered. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotion service means to acquire equality with Krishna. Equality means not we're going to become one with Krishna, but we're going to become of the same nature, spiritual nature. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, a living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. The difference of individuality continues. So, even if in the spiritual world we become as good as Krishna, means we attain this body of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. But when we talk about Bhakti Yoga means Krishna is there, like Prabhupada. Bhakti Yoga means the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between Lord and devotee is there. Means Bhakti is there, and Bhagwan is there. So they all are there, even in the liberated stage. So that is the meaning of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga has to be eternal, because soul is eternal, Krishna is eternal, and the relationship is eternal. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the individual person, otherwise, there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Because the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from all material contamination. So to become Brahman doesn't mean we merge into Brahmjyoti. It means we attain, all it means is we attain the spiritual qualities. We attain to the, which is our original constitutional position. It's not like we are adopting something artificial. It's to attain, to come back to that stage. That is what is required. It's said in the Vedic literature, Brahmeva san Brahmapi eti. One can attain the supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual. So we all come to that level. Sargunan samtitiyatan Brahma bhuyahe kalpate. Means we come to the level of Brahman, or being spiritual, but doesn't mean we finish off our individuality or identity. We remain as a person. We have a body which is made of Sat, Chit and Ananda, not made of this earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. And in that spiritual body, which is beautiful because it's part and parcel of Krishna, and it's of the same nature as Krishna. So in that body, we serve Krishna with love. That's all. So Brahmjyoti doesn't mean we lose our identity. We just lose our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. Text 27. Brahmno hi pratishtham aham amritasya vavyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukasya kantikasya cha. And now he talks about Brahmjyoti. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. And it is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So previously he says one attains that Brahman platform if he does devotion service, avyabhicharena bhakti yogena. And now he says, I am the basis of that impersonal Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtham aham. It's not the other way around. Mayavadis, those who follow this impersonalist theory, nirvikar, nirvishesh, shunyavadi, all these wonderful words, titles one gets when he doesn't want to follow person Krishna, he wants to follow impersonal aspect of Krishna. And what they say, that ultimate is Brahman. Ultimate is this formless, nirakar, nirgun, nirvishesh. That is ultimate. And in that, something happens, and that's when Krishna takes form from there, Ram takes form, Nrsimhadev takes form, and ultimately they also merge in Brahman. After finishing the pastimes, they merge. Where do they get this kind of philosophy? From Shankaracharya's books. Shankaracharya's, that impersonal, Advaitvad. But it's all bogus. Krishna himself says, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman. Clearly says here. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. So Brahmjyoti or Brahman, Brahm platform, spiritual platform is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the super soul, is a middle and the second stage in transcendental realization. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth. Therefore, both Paramatma and impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It's explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is a manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature, and that is a spiritual touch in the material nature. So the Lord impregnates the inferior material nature with fragments of the superior nature. So fragments in part and parcel of superior, which is all these jivatmas. And that is a spiritual touch in the material nature. So that's how the material nature, which actually is inert, it starts functioning when the supreme spiritual touch is given to that. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. So when this living entity who is conditioned, who is bound in this material world, he begins to develop this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, then he elevates and gradually rises up to Brahman conception or Brahmjyoti conception. This attainment of Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. It's a beginning, actually. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he's not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rises up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So slowly, he can make progress if he comes in contact with devotees of the Lord, with the devotees of the Lord who serve the personal feature of the Lord. So even from Brahm Jyoti platform, one can make progress further up if he is open to do so. If he is not, then he would say, oh, this Brahm Jyoti is ultimate, this is final for me. He can say, he can assume it is final, but it's not eternal and it's not permanent. Even in that position, the soul cannot remain in that position, he falls down. Cannot go above because he is not qualified, so he falls down. And again he can start over. Prabhupada gives the example. There are many examples of this in the Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. So even the four Kumaras, they were completely immersed in this impersonal Brahman conception. They always believe that the final, ultimate is impersonal Brahman. But when they came to take darshan, somehow they came to take darshan of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and they were stopped at the gate by Jay and Vijay. Now, even actually, Jay and Vijay did not make any mistake. They got cursed, and then they had to take 3 birds in the form of demons. But this all became part of Krishna's Leela. But when this Jai Vijay stopped 4 Kumaras from entering the final gate of Vaikuntha, and they were quite correct because these 4 Kumaras, they believed in Brahmjyoti. They didn't believe in the personal feature of the Lord. So they were not qualified to enter Vaikuntha Loka. They were very pure in the sense that they had no material inclinations, but they didn't have the qualification necessary to enter Vaikuntha Loka, which is bhakti. So Jay and Vijay were not at all wrong in stopping these 4 Kumaras. But it was all Lord Vishnu's arrangement that these Jay and Vijay get cursed. And when he came, Lord Vishnu came at the gate when he heard there is some fight between Jay and Vijay and 4 Kumaras. Not fight, actually. There was some discord, some argument. And he came running. So the idea was to give his darshan to the 4 Kumaras. 4 Kumaras did not deserve that darshan. Because Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita Ye yatha mam prapadyante tathya vipajamiham. If you approach me, the way you approach me, I reward you accordingly. So the four Kumaras had approached the Brahm Jyoti conception. That ultimate is impersonal. Still, somehow, they had the desire of taking darshan of the Lord. Maybe it was because of they are sons of Brahmaji and Brahmaji is a pure devotee, or maybe because of some other reason. Somehow they developed this desire. So even though they were impersonalists, Lord Vishnu personally came to give them darshan. Because somehow, even the impersonalist, if he has a desire to take darshan of the Lord will not refuse it. In fact, similar thing happened when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Banaras. There was a big impersonalist scholar. Banaras was the seat of impersonalist philosophy. It was a high seat actually. So Mahaprabhu, at the request of his devotees, he happened to be in Banaras, where he met Sanatan Goswami, and he was staying at the house of Taman Mishra and taking everyday prasadam at Chandrasekhar Acharya's house. So somehow these devotees, and there was a Maharashtrian Brahmin also, somehow these devotees requested Mahaprabhu to give his mercy on Prakashananda Saraswati, who was the leader of all the impersonalist scholars. So Mahaprabhu, just to oblige his devotees, he agreed. Otherwise, he won't even want to see the face of these impersonalists. But just to give mercy to his devotees, he agreed. So one day Mahaprabhu went to the place where Prakashananda Saraswati was sitting along with us all. He had about 10,000 disciples or followers. So Prakashananda Saraswati was sitting there. So Mahaprabhu went in that assembly, and he very humbly he sat down at the place where people would take off their shoes and wash their hands and feet before they go in that ashram. Prakashananda Saraswati, when he heard that Lord Chaitanya has come, of course he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Shri Krishna Chaitanya, that was the sannyasi name of Mahaprabhu, he has come. Prakashananda Saraswati, somehow he came running. And because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the role of a sannyasi at that time. So Prakashananda Saraswati, out of etiquette for sannyasi, to serve as sannyasi, to respect a sannyasi, he came to at that place. And Mahaprabhu, because Prakashananda Saraswati was into this Brahm Jyoti aspect of feature of the Supreme Lord, so Mahaprabhu, where he is the source of everything, Mahaprabhu displayed the light, the effulgence of his body. He said it was compared to 1,000 suns giving light at the same time. So Prakashananda Saraswati, he got mesmerized by seeing that. And actually, when somebody explained that was his name was Prakashanand because he would take bliss in the Prakash or Brahm Jyoti only. So Prakashanand Saraswati, then he requested Mahaprabhu that why you're sitting at such a filthy place, such an unclean place. Please come sit among all of us. And he requested, he held on to the hand of Mahaprabhu and he asked him to come with him. Mahaprabhu actually first refused. He said, no, you all are big scholars. I'm just a servant, so I'm okay over here. But Prakashananda Saraswati insisted, no, you please come with us. So although Mahaprabhu would not care a fig about all these impersonal philosophers, but because of the request of his devotees, and then Prakashananda Saraswati, he committed such a wonderful service in a humble mood, Mahaprabhu relented. And Mahaprabhu went inside. And he sat with Prakashan and Saraswati, and all his followers were watching. And Prakashan, and that time they had a wonderful conversation, discussion about Vedas, the import of the Vedas, and the final word of the Vedas. And then Mahaprabhu convinced him about the Vaishnava philosophy. And it is said that Prakashan and Saraswati and all his followers, they became Vaishnava afterwards. Of course, they said, but because we still follow that impersonal philosophy, so we'll continue reading the scriptures in that way, but we'll also chant. So that was a big victory. So what I'm saying is, all these followers or believers of Brahm Jyoti, impersonal philosophers, they can become devotees. Well, Prabhupada, he said it here or some other place, he said, but devotees, they don't become impersonalist philosophers once they have tasted the nectar of service of Krishna. So, continuing with the purport. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further, with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. So if he is stuck at the impersonal stage, he is not very intelligent. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is a chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotion service of the Lord. So the devotion service of the Lord is so powerful, and the devotee in bhakti, we can say he clings on to the lotus feet of the Lord, or he prays to the Lord to just keep the devotee at the lotus feet of the Lord himself. So the position becomes very safe because we are not relying on our capabilities, we are relying on the mercy of Krishna. So then that position is very safe because Krishna is all powerful, all merciful. He can easily protect and keep his devotees with himself. In the Vedic language, it's also said, Vaso Vaisa. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. The Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and then when devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king, and so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. So, okay, let's go back. Prabhupada said, Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. Means the devotee also develops these six opulences to a certain degree. Of course, not in full. Only Krishna can have them in full. But devotee also develops this. That's why in Bhagavatam, some places when Shukdev Goswami was referring to Narad Muni, he says, Shri Narad Uvacha. Shri is word title only used for the Lord. But for Narad Muni, in fact, for Hiranyakashipu also, in 7th canto, we'll read the pastime of, or not the pastime, the story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj and Nrsimhadev. And when Hiranyakashipu starts speaking to the wives of Hiranyaksha, who were just killed by Varadev, Shukdev Goswami over there, he writes, Shri Hiranyakashipu Ruvacha. And why the Shri? Because the philosophy that Hiranyakashipu gave was completely in line with the Vedic philosophy. So, of course, he didn't follow that philosophy. That's a different story. but the philosophy was perfect. So a devotee also develops these 6 opulences to a certain degree. The servant of the king enjoys, and so eternal happiness in perioculus. So therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotion service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotion service. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this, he falls down. In his constitutional position, living entity is above the 3 modes of material nature, but association with material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we are beyond these 3 modes. But when we are in the material nature, we get stuck, we get covered over by these 3 modes. Due to the association of these 3 modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. So dominate the material world, or control the material energy, or be the possessor of these. This is all the qualities of a person in mode of passion, actually. He's not beyond the 3 modes. He's very much within. By engagement in devotion service, in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. So this is what happens when he starts executing devotion service. So we slowly, we are trying to come to our constitutional position. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering the prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service, should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord had his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with his devotees. Chant always a transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And observe the fasting days commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahm Jyoti or different varieties of Brahman conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. But we have to go further than Brahm Jyoti and be engaged in loving service of the Lord. So our realization should not end at Brahm Jyoti that I am Brahman or Aham Brahmasmi or So Aham and this and that. Our realization should go further up, that I'm a part and parcel of Krishna. I'm a servant of Krishna. My whole duty is to serve Krishna. That's it. So that's only possible by whatever program Prabhupada has given us. And it's a wonderful program. Morning program, evening program, and then chanting and reading and hearing. And there's so many different activities. So that's the way to make progress. Go away from Brahm conception of life to the servant conception of life. So here ends the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And let us start a new thing from today. Actually, I was thinking, I attended one class and when Prabhuji did that and I liked it. At least on Friday and Saturday we can do, because other days there's not enough time. Let us ask everybody for their realizations. Little realization, whatever, one sentence, two sentences, whatever you want to talk about, whatever we discussed, or any questions also you can ask. But everybody has to say something, so that I know nobody is sleeping. That's all the point is, to sleep. So, Moshmi, you're the first one I can see on the screen. So let's start with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful lecture. Since this 14th chapter is all about the three modes of material nature, I can't tell you anything about the realizations. In fact, I have some doubts. Doubts in the sense...
Okay. Sure, go ahead.
Doubts in the sense like goodness, passion. So like it is all about sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. So one person is made up of all these three material modes of nature. So by doing sadhana, I mean by doing bhakti yoga, can somebody be can someone be a complete sattvic personality, or still the person will have the other gunas also?
See, our consciousness is based on many things. First is our sanskaras that are coming from previous lifetimes, so many lifetimes. Our association that we keep in this lifetime. And in association, everything else, person or book association and the activities that we do. So that determines the how much we are covered by three modes, or how strongly we are covered. By doing bhakti, by engaging in bhakti yoga, slowly, now it depends how intense our bhakti is. Slowly, those coverings will start getting removed or loosen up their grip on us. Here Krishna says, Avyabhicharin bhakti yogin. By doing avyabhicharin means complete, full surrender. One can go beyond this material modes. But if we are not doing that, then the modes are still there, but the grip is loosening. Slowly. It depends how much we are performing.
Yes, right. So since you have mentioned about samskara from the prarabdha also, suppose bhakti yoga is called to be the highest form of all the yoga. Suppose as like all human nature is not same. All persons are not kind of equal personality. They are not having the same personality. So some people is dominating with like rajasic guna, or someone is like tamasic, and someone is like dominating with sattvic gun. So if somebody is like having, suppose I'm noticing and observing myself every day that okay, I'm having this tamasic gun more and more rather than rajasic and sattvic. So in such cases also, the same bhakti yoga, everybody should adapt it to enhance their level, or is there any different kind of path also to choose?
No, see, in Kali Yuga, there is no other path, because meditation we cannot do. Other yogas are there, but meditation, very difficult to do. Jnana yoga, no way, how much we can understand scriptures. So bhakti yoga is very easy and very potent at the same time. Mahaprabhu also said, no, Cheto Darpan Marjanam, only by Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. But we have to perform that bhakti yoga properly.
Yes, I'm talking about key. Yes, right. I'm talking not only about Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting. I'm talking about, suppose like Karma Yoga. Can somebody start doing from Karma Yoga, like selfless services, if the person is not been able to getting any test from doing chanting every day? So is there any other ways like to indulge their
Oh yeah. That Krishna does explain in 13th chapter, 8 through 12 verses. If you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do that, do at least that. So, I mean, topmost is obviously Bhakti Yoga. If you cannot do this Gyan, then Hatha Yoga, or then there's Karma Yoga, or at least do some pious activity. Do some, serve the society or something like that. If you cannot do that, then do this. So Krishna has given all these processes. So if one cannot do bhakti yoga, the sanskaras are not there, or agya sukriti is not there, but at least do something, some selfless activity, something to serve the society and develop, slowly develop some mode of goodness.
Yes, understood. Realization is whole Bhagavad Gita. No matter what we study, ultimately, every time it says only do Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So, yeah. So, I mean,
If we read the last verse of every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it's all about bhakti yoga.
right.
Means the essence is bhakti of every chapter. And Prabhupada brought that essence in every purport of every verse.
So from there, like, no question to be asked. Like, I think everybody knows that what to be done, what not to be done. Still, the this Maya's power is so dominating.
Well,
Most of us.
it's a three modes. Basically, the mode of ignorance takes over, and we start finding excuses.
Yeah.
We all are in the three modes. We are not beyond it. So we just have to
Yeah, that's what,
implement.
whatever I would say, I can justify in myself that I'm giving only an excuse. Because for a week, if I try, like, okay, I'll put my alarm at 4 o'clock, then for a week I'll chant and all. Again, after a week, like, again, I will get up at 6 o'clock. So this kind of disbalance is going on in my life. But still, I'm trying slowly and gradually. So I really don't know where my position is. But
Beta,
yes,
you're not alone. We all are in the same boat.
yeah, that's it.
We all are in the same boat. If not mode of ignorance, then the mode of passion takes over. What to do?
Yeah, what I have realized from my own experience that association does matter a lot. A lot means, I mean, if you are with the right association or positive association, you can really change yourself. Just seeing somebody's nature also. Like, I have an attitude of observing others. Like, I mostly try to be with Radha Krishna Prabhuji, mostly, like, at least once in a week. Everyone is busy in their life nowadays, but yes, I mean, he is my mentor, guru, and everything, I would say. So whenever
Mine
I
too.
meet,
Mine too.
yeah, probably for many. So, like, I used to tell him, like, whenever I see you or meet, I just, like, feel so positive within inside immediately, and I don't know what kind of power is that. So that's how I believe, and mostly I do observe his nature, and then just observing him. So whatever happens in my life, in any steps, though my mind says that I should do this, but suddenly I remember that, oh, other people like Radha Krishna Prabhuji or you all are doing such a pious activity every day. How can you do that? Let me try also. So that way I am gaining some good qualities if I compare myself like few years back. But I would say yes, long way to go.
So see, you all are so lucky to have Radha Prabhu's association. I cannot even have that now. I'm so far
That's
away.
because I must have done something in my past life, I'm sure.
And I must have done something wrong in this life that he kicked me out. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna, thank you.
Hanji Prabhuji, Himrat Prabhu.
Finally, you all made fun of me.
What? See, We are speaking so sincerely, and he's saying we are making fun of him.
If Mosmi Mataji is saying something, I can somewhat understand, but when you say that, I cannot take it seriously. All that I am today is just because of you, bro.
It's being recorded. I cannot lie. And Abhishek Prabhu is going to put it on YouTube also.
Oh my
See?
God!
I cannot lie.
So
Yes, Hemraj Prabhu जी कुछ तो बताइए अपनी realizations.
Prabhuji, unmute.
Okay. Yeah, let me unmute him. Yes, Prabhuji. अनम्यूट तो किया नहीं. यस प्रभु जी बताइए. सॉरी,
रिकॉर्डिंग ऑन हो रहा है.
हाँ जी रिकॉर्डिंग तो ऑन रहेगी ना.
हमारे इतना वो नहीं है. हम तो बस आपका आशीर्वाद लेने के लिए बिल्कुल बैठे रहते हैं.
अरे अपनी रियलाइजेशन कुछ बताइए, क्या सीख रहे हैं.
रियलाइजेशन अब तो मेरी एज ऐसी है कि बस सुनना ही है और भजन करना है. बस मेरी ये रियलाइजेशन और कुछ नहीं. मेरा और मोटो सब खत्म मैंने कर दिए हैं. जितने भी मेरी लाइब्रेरी की जो भी सब मैंने अपने आप को उनको अलग से कर लिया है. सिर्फ इतना है कि आपकी बताएं, आपके प्रवचन सुनता रहा हूँ और बस चैंटिंग हरे कृष्णा और कुछ नहीं मैंने रखा लाइफ में. जो भी टाइम बचा है बस चैंटिंग का ही मैंने सोचा और कुछ नहीं. हरे कृष्णा.
सब यही बढ़िया है. इससे अच्छी तो रियलाइजेशन कुछ नहीं हो सकती. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्णा.
पाल प्रकाश प्रभु आप हैं.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
हरे कृष्ण.
मेरा भी यही है प्रभु जी. आई एम लिसनिंग यू. आई एम चांटिंग. Nothing more than that.
Yes, chanting is the ultimate weapon. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dipanshu Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
हरे कृष्णा. हरे कृष्णा. Oops, sorry, आपका म्यूट हो गया. हाँ जी प्रभु जी बताइए.
प्रभु जी अभी तो कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है.
कोई रियलाइजेशंस भी नहीं है.
अभी नहीं है. आप पहले बताइए आप आ कब रहे हैं वापस.
अरे बाबा ये रिकॉर्डिंग वाला क्वेश्चन नहीं है.
आपसे मिलने की बहुत इच्छा है. तो एक छोटी सी सेवा मैं करना चाहता हूँ आपके लिए.
पहले मैं रिकॉर्डिंग बंद कर दूंगा. ये तो